The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my show, Debi Changes Lives. And I'm Debi, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health and mindset issues and create a custom, natural, holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I simply make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Not many people have released 70 pounds, had a health transformation, and kept fit and trim for over a decade. I have staying power. It's actually been over 11 years. I even became a half marathon runner at the age of 51 when I never ran from childhood to adulthood due to foot problems, and I've done 8 half marathons. Mindset is the key to lasting change. As a certified holistic health coach, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I guide them to clean toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. My coaching is for optimizing your health, efficiently reducing weight if needed, and enhancing your mindset. You will see and feel the differences with my coaching, especially my mindset coaching, because I actually help people recognize that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions will drive their action and results. Sometimes that's good, and sometimes that can be bad. And that's why it's really crucial to have a positive mindset in life to succeed. And it's really imperative to release those low vibrational emotions because they will slow you down and get you stuck physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like a hot air balloon that has ballasts. I actually help people release those emotional ballasts and baggage so they get uplift to a happier, healthier life. In turn, they are releasing their stress and reshaping their core beliefs. So ask me about my programs at my complimentary consultation button of my link tree at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives and Victory ES.com/linktree, LINKTREE. And I'll guide you that better, healthier life. Today, I'm thrilled to have Morry Zelcovitch, a Brainwave Entrainment Engineer. Now, I do recommend to my clients newer tools, but Morry's program is different and is very unique. Due to his own mental health needs, he was driven to create a solution that led to a revolutionary discovery of brainwave entrainment. And he's actually utilized this and mitigated his mental struggles. Today, obviously, I have him here, and he's become a distinguished brainwave entrainment engineer and the founder of the Morry method. We'll be discussing how to reduce stress and also, look for a way to overwhelm your issues with Morry Zelcovich's brainwave entrainment system. So let's welcome Morry Zelcovitch, that distinguished brainwave entrainment engineer and the founder of the Morry method.
Hey, Debi, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show.
Oh, well, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate that too. So I already mentioned in the intro that your brainwave entrainment tools are unique and different. And it's interesting. You've actually, pretty much pioneered this field, and people don't even really realize it existed about brainwave entrainment. And your technology actually interacts with the brain to help them with struggling from stress, anxiety, and mental overwhelm. What makes it different as other solutions such as meditation and therapies?
So understand that I do not claim my work to be better than these other therapies. They're different.
They're
And
different.
that's exactly what makes it you know, a good adjunct. When I was depressed for 40 years, because I was seriously depressed for 40 years, I couldn't find anything to help me. I had to design something to help me. What was out there didn't help me. So what I've done is I've created something that is different, and I'll explain why it's different in a second. But it's different because this difference helped me, and it's helped thousands of other people all over the world as well, who, like me, searched, couldn't find anything to be of service. Not because these things aren't good. Don't get me wrong; they're great. I love when a client comes to me and says, "Hey, Morry, what do you think of this?" And if I've tried it and it didn't work for me, I say, "You're asking a really good question, but you're asking the wrong person. You are obviously inspired to try it, otherwise you wouldn't have asked me. I think you should. You know yourself better than I do. And if you're inspired to try something, as long as you're being careful with it and cautious, I encourage people to try whatever they're inspired to try, because I'm not here to get the world addicted to my work. I'm here to help people to help themselves to feel better. And part of helping someone to feel better is actually helping them to realize they are their own guru. So that's one of the things that's different about my work, is that I don't pretend to have your answers. Not that I'm saying other people do pretend to have your answers, but I don't. I know I don't have your answers. I'm not a coach. I'm not I don't do that kind of thing. I'm not a counselor.
Well, coaches also are have certain things that they do, and it's to try to help people better their lives.
Sure.
And everyone is a unique individual. Everyone has their own unique fingerprint of health. So everyone has different approaches that may work or may not work. You know, but we are living in a chaotic world, and people need to strive. And it's kind of hard when there's so much stress and anxiety at such high levels. Um, and when it comes to stress, I pretty much help people recognize where it's coming from. Because external stress, like whatever is happening in the government, like here in the United States, or when someone gets angry at you, that's an external stress. How are you, and I'm not asking you personally, but how are people reacting to this? Because when they react in a way with high emotion, they're just making their stress even worse. And it's important to be more proactive and figure out a better way to, you know, respond to the situations. Now, if it's something internally into them, that's also different for everybody because these issues popped up like popcorn at different parts of their life. And it takes a little bit more time to be get that little detective to help them figure out where that is and making them aware of it. But these tools that we use, for to help people relax their stress are very beneficial. And I know that for you, you use this brainwave entrainment. And how does this offer them a way out so they're not so stuck in that stressful
So
mental
that's
state?
a great question. So here's the thing. People think, and their thoughts create brainwave patterns. I mean, lots of things, stimulation, all kinds of stuff creates brainwave patterns. But thoughts, as an example, create brainwave patterns. Reaction to stimulation creates brainwave patterns. These brainwave patterns, depending on the region of the brain that they're occurring in and the frequency. So a neuron is kind of like a machine that's got a light on it. And you flick the switch on so many times a second, and that dictates the kind of state that neuron is in.
Mhm.
10 times might be an alpha state. Most of us have heard of alpha. Beta might be 28 times. Theta could be 6 times, etc. So it pulses, but it doesn't pulse like a heart. It pulses like electricity. That
Okay.
creates chemistry. It's the chemistry that creates your perception of what you're experiencing. So if you're happy, if you're sad, if you're turned on, turned off, excited, bored, whatever, you don't actually experience that unless your brain creates chemistry that is literally coded to allow you to feel that way. That's why you could have three people in an airplane getting ready to jump out. They're in a little Cessna and they're up about how many thousand feet. And one of them's going, "Oh, I can't wait. This is so exciting." Another one's going, "Oh, I wish we could get this over with already. I got to get back to the office." And the third one is taking off their parachute and saying, "You know what? Screw this. I'm going to sit on the airplane and I'm just going to let the airplane land. That's how I'm getting to the ground." Same stimulation pattern, three different people, three different reactions. That's because how they chose to interpret. With my
Exactly.
brainwave entrainment, what happens is there's a feature in everybody's brain called the frequency following response. And before some of you say, "Not me, not me," I beg to differ, because the chances are most of you out there have a song you like, or a band you like, or a type of music you like. And when you listen to it, you kind of tap your toes, you bop your head. You're not trying to do it, it's just happening. Believe it or not, that's the frequency following response in action. With my techniques, I focus not on your whole body, but on your neurons, on your brain cells. By encouraging them to follow the frequencies I want them to follow, your brain releases associated chemistry that allows you to experience things differently. That's the trick. Because again, it's your chemical, you know,
Reaction.
recipe, if you will,
Yeah.
that's created by the brain that allows you to feel the way you feel, actually interprets the way you feel, and then allows you to experience it that way. By altering your brainwave activity in a subtle way, we change the chemistry. By changing the chemistry, it changes the experience. And by changing the experience, that changes everything.
Now, when you say chemistry, are you creating like dopamine or serotonin, or are you
Yes,
any of these hormones?
dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, acetylcholine, various other neurotransmitters, endorphins, hormones, all of it. And it's like dinner. If my wife cooks me dinner or cooks dinner for us, I eat something that's healthy, it's organic, it's tasty, it's made with love. If I cook something for her, we end up ordering in because I can't cook with Craig. So it's just, I know, but it's the truth. And the same thing happens with our mind, with our brain. So if we're miserable, if our lives don't taste good, that's likely because of the neurotransmitter production that we've got going on. And having negative feelings and negative thoughts, especially repetitive ones, create that negative soup, if you will, that tastes crappy. And every time you take a mouthful of the soup, you go, ugh, ugh, ugh. And that just generates more negative thoughts and more negative feelings. And it just cycles on and on and on and on and on. Brainwave entrainment helps you to get out of that gutter, to break that feeling. I had 40 years of nonstop depression. I
Wow.
went from depression to super depression, then back up to depression. My highlight was depression. When I did my first program, when I first designed my first recording, I felt just a little bit different after the first time, just a little bit. But that was enough to prove to me that I can feel different.
Hmm.
And that got me going on a whole process that allowed me to change and turn my life around.
Well, those little steps do mean a lot. I mean, I talk to people. It's like a grain that's in an hourglass or on a beach. It adds up, just like gratitude. That's why I talk when I talk about gratitude. That's why gratitude just is those little things that add up and make you feel better. And it's really important to have gratitude, no matter what anyone thinks.
I'm
Because
grateful for all the depression I had. I'm grateful for all the injuries. I'm grateful for broken kneecap, for dislocations, for concussions, for depression. All of that put me into the position I'm in today. Without that, who knows what I'd be doing? I'd probably be working at a bank with like a dress shirt and a tie. And not that that's a problem. If you do that and you like it, that's fine. Not for me, though. For me,
no,
I need to be doing what I'm doing. And that's why I went through everything I went through.
exactly. And to tell you the truth, a lot of people think that altering the brain it requires years of practice of therapy or medication.
Six
And
minutes for
okay,
unexperienced people. 6 minutes. That's all it
okay.
takes.
So what I was getting at is that type of um, therapy or approach wasn't something I really wanted. I was depressed too, but not to the extent that you were. And it just wasn't going anywhere. It was very repetitive on their end. And I'm like, that's not helping me. And so I said, oh, forget that. And I found my own solution, which was, creating that positive mindset that took, it did take a while.
And
But,
look at how much good you're doing now because of that.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I help others. I've helped people and realize that there is a light under, at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And that
But
light
it's not
is
a
positive. So, anyways, since people have that mindset, and it's not necessarily a mindset that we have, now you're saying that the transformation takes 6 minutes for some
That's
people?
all it takes for the untrained mind, untrained brain to begin to entrain. So what entrainment means is one system following another system. So they're not even now, but when they're long enough, 6 minutes, they start following each other. So when you hear the bop, 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 which is the kind of sound you're going to hear in a standard brainwave entrainment track that I can create, then your neurons start following that pulse signature. By following that pulse signature, we dictate the kind of chemistry it produces, which gives you the kind of feeling that you didn't have before, which allows you to feel the more relaxed. It allows you to realize there's changes. When brainwave entrainment, especially properly engineered entrainment, is combined with work like what you're doing,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah, and another thing that might be really great to add to it, which I've been doing lately, is acupressure, self-care acupressure, not acupuncture. Because when you find that electronic pulse that your body sends, it's not just blood circulating, it's just you're breathing and exhaling, and all of a sudden you feel this pulse. And then you move the hand, you do it to different parts of your body. It relaxes those muscles and the tension just kind of melts away. So it sounds like your brainwave entrainment has the exact same possibilities of making things melt away.
Depending on the person, depending on the circumstance, it does what it does. I'm actually working on a technology that involves using vibration on the hands to entrain the brain.
Okay. Yeah,
So
well, it is that fingerprint of health. It's also the perspective. Some people are like, oh, that can't possibly be. Those people are going to be harder to get and
well,
have
actually, if
a
they
longer
experience it,
time
it's hard.
figuring it out because they're
It's
trying to figure it out. It's better not to figure it out. Just experience
It doesn't really matter. It's kind of like someone jumping into a pool saying, "I'm not wet."
it. Unless it's a freezing pool and it shocks them.
Well, if it's freezing, it's still going to be wet, unless it's frozen, in which case it'll be ice. But the thing is that people can stop the effect of brainwave entrainment if they want to, but they're only going to do that if they want to and if they start feeling it having an effect.
Mm,
If
okay.
you don't believe in it and you go in going, "Ah, nothing's going to happen," and then you just kind of lie down and close your eyes and let it happen and just get exposed to it, you'll get a reaction to it for sure. It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not.
Okay. Well, it's the exact same thing with acupressure. They're
Yeah.
going to get it, but they may not feel that pulse. So, I mean, some people are more sensitive than others. I just feel it. That's the type of person I am. I'm very sensory in my senses with visual, feeling and auditory. Okay, so can you give me an example how it's possible for something to happen in 6 minutes? And I mean like a mind blowing example of a client that actually used it to overcome stress and anxiety or anxiety.
Yeah, it's just a natural process. I mean, it happens all the time. For an average untrained person, it takes 6 minutes for the brain to entrain. This is just science.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing fancy about it. There's nothing psychic about it. There's nothing magical about it. It's a neurological phenomenon. That's it. That's how it works. 6 minutes on average for the untrained brain to entrain to a frequency. As long as it's within a certain range of beats per second, that's all it takes.
Okay, but Can you give me an example of someone actually utilizing this and it made a big difference in their life?
Oh, I mean, I've got thousands of testimonials from people. People with I had a client in England who has a 26-year-old autistic son who's very non-communicative and antisocial. So basically, just like sitting, staring out the window all the time, or even staring at the wall. And they've been through all kinds of different protocols and all kinds of money spent. And they bought one of my systems years ago. They wrote me an email saying, our son is 26. He's autistic. He's got a younger brother who's like 12 or 14 or something. Never talks to him, never talks to us. Since he's been using your system for the last, I guess it was a month or two, he actually went up to his dad and he asked him to read him a book, which he's never done before. He also regularly talks to his brother now.
That's cool. That's a breakthrough.
I've got people who spontaneously lose weight, who spontaneously quit smoking, spontaneously quit or cut down their drinking, have better relationships, do better at work, get promoted. I mean, it's your brain is the central processing unit of everything in your life. Like I said before, if your brain doesn't know what's going on, it doesn't create chemistry to let the rest of you know what's going on.
Exactly.
And we can make your brain more efficient. So that means everything your brain does becomes or is likely to become more efficient. I worked at a job when I was developing this technology. I worked at a job downtown in the city where I was living, and I was the content manager. And when they trained me for an 8-hour job, and I did an 8-hour job. As I was doing my work, I was also doing my research at home. And I started listening to a recording I designed. So first time in the morning, then I'd listen once at work and once in the evening when I got home. After about 6 months on the job, they were paying me to do my research all afternoon because I had come up with creative ways to increase my productivity so that I was able to get all of the work done in 4 hours. And I had the other 4 hours of my workday where I could literally work on my research and they were paying me and they were complimenting me on my work.
That's amazing, Morry. That's just amazing.
Well, anyone can do this. This isn't me. I'm not brilliant or genius. The trick about my work is your brain. Your brain is the powerful thing that's doing all the heavy lifting. It's just you're giving it the opportunity to do that heavy lifting. We live in a world where, like you said, it's upheaval, it's stress, it's anxiety. We're worried about disease. We're worried about government. We're worried about taxes. We're worried about this. We're worried about that. Hundreds of thousands of years ago when we lived in caves, I'm assuming we lived in caves
It's true.
we were still crawling out somewhere. But when we were living in caves and we had no concept of time, we had no concept of disease, we had no concept of politics, no concept of taxes, none of this stuff. Our adrenaline pumped when we were in danger. And when the danger passed, it's reasonable to assume that we didn't have adrenaline pumping. We weren't worried about dying because we didn't know what dying was. When someone beside us collapsed and stopped moving, we probably grunted and went upon our day. All these things happen naturally. It stands to reason that the brain then would be in a stable pattern for longer periods of time because there's less distractions. I mean, we don't have these idiotic things in front of our face either. So the whole point is that because of that, it's reasonable to assume that our brains were in more stable patterns for longer periods of time. That means that our brains were producing more of natural chemistry. Also, now we're operating like we don't have all that chemistry. Imagine driving a car that's low on gas, low on oil, low on alternator fluid, low on brake fluid, low on this, low on that. The tires are low on air. And then the same car with everything tuned up and beautiful. Well, we're driving the crappy car that's got nothing in it anymore. And our cave dwelling ancestors were driving the Cadillac Coupe de Ville that was perfectly tuned with all the fluid levels on full.
In a way, they were more alert. Even though they were dealing with fear and things like that, they were just more alert. And the brain was acting more spontaneously. We've gotten too complacent in our life, haven't we? Sure. Anyways, our conscious mind is 5% of our brain activity. And the subconscious is obviously.
I don't buy that.
Well, that's what people have told me. Subconscious is 95%. It's a lot larger. So whatever percentages they were, one is smaller than the other. And but that's what I've been taught. But that subconscious mind is something that people don't. It has some really good information in it. It can have some really positive experience, feelings, thoughts. It can also have some negative as well, thoughts and feelings and events. And sometimes these negative experiences or even thoughts or feelings is what's getting people stuck. They go into patterns and cycles and they just cannot see that light at the end of the tunnel. So, but you can tune into that subconscious. Um, having a positive mindset is one way. But another way that's interesting that you kind of mentioned that is that you can actually tap into this hidden part of our brain, which I'm going to call the subconscious. and and what happens is that somebody finally reprograms their mental patterns. How does that happen?
Well, I don't agree with anything you just said, so I have a hard time explaining how something happens that I don't believe in. But that being said, I'll translate it into my universe's language, and then
Okay.
I'll tell you how it happens.
And it
So
probably does
I
relate.
actually now understand that I don't agree, but I also say you're correct at the same time. I believe we all exist in our own universe, and quantum physics says nothing exists until it's observed. When humans observe something, they also give it meaning, they define it. So you're looking at the situation, you've defined it that way, which by my rule of my universe says she's 100% right. In my universe, it's different. In my universe, I'm waving at you with my left hand. I'm pointing at you with my left hand. Now I'm making a fist with my left hand. I didn't show you subconscious, conscious, and unconscious mind. I showed you the same hand doing three different things.
Yes.
To me, that's what the mind is. It's not three different things. Those are just categories of events that the one mind does.
Okay.
So for me to explain why that happens, it's difficult because I don't believe it happens. I think we're misinterpreting, or many people are misinterpreting because they believe what they're told. Everyone saw that iceberg in the water that shows this much is above, that's your consciousness, and this is your unconscious or whatever, or subconscious. And I just don't believe in that. I think it's a lie. I think it was said to
Okay,
weaken.
what's your perspective? Let me know. I mean, what is your definition or of what the mind is or what the brain is?
The mind is you. The brain and your body are physical structures that house who you are. So if I was religious, I would say the mind is the soul. And the
Okay.
soul exists
Into
in,
yeah,
in the
in
heart
the
and in the
spirit.
gut,
Yeah. Okay.
right? Yeah, that's how I would define it. But for me, I define it as just the electricity that is you. Human electricity that goes through you isn't created by anything. It's the only electricity that I know of that it doesn't have to be created. You know, power generation plants create electricity. It goes through, it heats our water, it turns on our light turns into heat. You know, it does one thing and then it transfers, becomes something else and something else and something else. Well, for years and years and years, humans live on an energy that is not being created, is not being supported. It's just there. And we know it's electricity because we can measure it in the brain. We can measure it in our muscle tissues. Every time I do this, there's
It's
electrical
your energy
impulses.
body that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a good way to describe it, actually. So from my standpoint, it's a matter of understanding. So I don't believe in anything. I don't have belief. I don't think there's such a thing as truth. And I don't believe in fact either. Because when I did, it closes my mind. So I like having an open mind. Not that other people's minds are closed. I'm saying for me,
It gives you more
it closes
more
them.
possibilities or perspectives of what's really
That's
going
correct. And with quantum physics, again, to go back to that, because it's my current understanding that the rules of quantum, as I understand them, make sense. So from my standpoint, quantum physics says there's infinite possibilities, and what you concentrate on collapses into your reality. That's why that's why I was poor for all those years, going, why am I so poor when everybody else is rich around me? Well, they were collapsing a different reality into their existence. I was collapsing a crappy one.
Yes, and that does happen that way. That's why it's
Yeah.
important to have a positive mindset
Well,
in life.
well, that's it. But it also makes me a lot more calm in my life because I understand that now. That's an understanding. It doesn't mean it's real. It's my
Mhm.
current understanding. It makes me much more relaxed, and it also makes it easier for me to hear other people. I used to, when I was depressed, I used to sit around waiting for someone to stop talking so I could explain to them how wrong they are. I'm telling you, that was me.
But
Now,
you
I
just need to say,
learned
"I have a
from
different
them.
opinion."
Well, but that's my point. Right? My point
Yes.
is that I understand that in their universe, that's how it is.
Mhm.
It's not me waiting to convince them that they're wrong because they're not wrong. They're right. And when my attitude is that they're right, that allows me to see their point of view by my definition, which allows me to learn something. I love
Yes.
that.
Yes. You know, someone else's perspective that you don't quite grasp yet is you just need to be open and to listen to it and just, let it drip in.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because you can always model or remake make it or into something that will work for you. And that's what I do for people. I help them do that.
That's brilliant. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, because there's not one way of I hate to say it, the skinning a cat. I love my cat. But my whole point is there's many different ways and approaches with everybody,
You're
whether
right.
it's mental, physical, emotional, and that's why I say spiritual. That's why I was
Sure.
talking about that balloon at the beginning and
Yeah.
and uh, and the approaches because everyone's exposed to a different environment when they grow up. Everyone's exposed to a different family style. Everyone's exposed to a different adolescence and a different, whatever adulthood. And they need to see what works for them, right?
My interpretation of what you're saying says you're a genius.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. I mean, gee, I didn't think I would be a certified holistic health coach. I was a video producer before. I was working with computers and crashing them. And their video equipment and things like that. That's my whole point. It's like, and then the engineers will look at me, "What did you do?" And I kind of explained it in a different way. I said, "Well," I showed them because that's the way they can see, right? And
Sure.
then I said, "In a way, this program is having a problem in this area of its life." And they looked at me like strangely, and they're like, and they come back, "You know what? You're right." And I had no, I'm not a programmer, but they paid me high money at that time to do that. So that's what I mean is I find I'm very good at crashing computers. I'm just talented that way.
But you know what? Your ability to crash the computer, if I can extrapolate that into the human psyche that you're dealing with,
Mhm,
then what you're doing is when you crash a computer, when you help to crash a mind, you're really just finding the weak link, and then you
mhm.
know where to work and how to help them to strengthen it. So you're not
Exactly.
destroying anything. What you're doing is it's almost like a stress test when you go for a stress test and they put you on the treadmill. You're exposing the area that is loose so you can bring a wrench and tighten it for them.
And that's exactly what I was doing. And I knew exactly the steps that would do it. And they would say, because I worked in TV stations, I trained people and they all saw, well, this person did that. I'm like, oh, I know how they did it. Boom, 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 crash. Do it again. I did it. Three screen every computer in the room. But my whole point is that it's a matter of finding the steps, going, well, I think it's here.
Sure.
And I found them pretty quickly. I was really good at it. I wasn't a typical SQA person, just put it that way. I was never trained. It was just something innate in me.
Sure. People can be taught to do something, but the people who do it really, really well are the people who have an I'm not going to say necessarily a natural ability, but they have an affinity towards it. They have a lust for it. They have a love of it. They just
Mhm.
have a passion for it. The passion is the secret ingredient, I think, that makes someone go from good to great.
And I do have that passion. I seem to find solutions for people that work for them. And if something wasn't working, okay, fine, we'll do something else. And that's important when you have a coach. It's like if something's not working, then you do need to find something else for that unique individual because there's thousands of solutions out there. So,
Well, that's really well said. And when you said that, it kind of made me think of the movie The Secret from years ago. One of the problems with that movie in my mind, and I find that there were a lot of problems with that movie, frankly, but one of the biggest problems with it was it kind of left it open saying, if you don't get what you want after watching this movie and applying its principles, it's because you're letting negative thinking creep into your thought process, or they're blaming it on the person who's trying to practice.
oh, I'm not blaming on the person. I'm just going,
No,
well, this,
that's what I mean though.
yeah.
That's one of the things that makes you effective is that you're not actually saying, give me all your money and I will help you. But if you fail and I don't help you, it's not my fault. It's yours because you didn't try hard enough or you didn't believe in the system hard enough. You don't do that. But a lot of people in various types of business do that. If you don't succeed, it's not my fault. You didn't follow what I said to do. You didn't this, you didn't that. It's not about helping really people. You are about helping people. That's why it's important for you to make sure they understand. And that's probably why you have such a high success rate when you do your work
But
too.
they need to figure they need to figure it out, but they also need to, follow something so they can see what is going to work for them or not. I mean, it's a two-way street there. Now, Morry, when it comes with someone dealing with anxiety and they plugging into your brainwave entrainment program, you kind of give a little idea of what their experience is in just a few moments when you said it only takes 6 minutes. Is there any more details you can fill in the blanks with?
Well, uh,
Maybe
I
not.
can explain the process, which is pretty straightforward. You put on an ordinary pair of stereo headphones, something like these, which cost
Okay.
me I think 10 or 12 bucks on Amazon. You lie back or you sit with head support, you close your eyes, you hit play. You can even have a nap because everything happens automatically. There's
Okay.
not a lot of processes out there that you are told there's nothing to study, there's nothing to read, there's nothing to practice. Everything just happens automatically. I'm very lazy, so I had to develop a system that was equally lazy.
That's fine.
And it's funny because
People
now
need
I'm
to
so
tune out
busy.
sometimes, so that's a great way to tune out. They're
It
tuning out, but
is.
they are really
It
tuning
is.
in.
Well, that's the funny thing that you say that. It is both tuning out and tuning in at the same time. So that's an interesting way to put it. I've never thought of it that way, but that's quite good. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Just quote me.
Yeah, I will. I'll give you credit for it for sure.
Well, you know, your tools are really unique and I do enjoy them. And some people have issues with them. That's all I can say. But, like you said, it's just the way their thinking processes are at the time. And that's pretty much what we said at the time. And they always revisit it again. And I found that a lot of people do find it very helpful. It's only a
Well,
rare
you know,
few that don't.
you asked me before what makes it unique. One of the things that really makes it unique is with supplements, you have to buy them every month, or
Hmm.
they go bad and you have to resupply yourself. With some other techniques, people can get used to them and they have to vary. Well, because we're dealing with brainwave activity happens all our lives, whether we use brainwave entrainment or not. None of the recordings are anything your brain gets used to. I'm using recordings today that are 35 years old that I designed right at the very beginning, and they're just as effective today as they were before. It doesn't matter how many times you use them or over what period of time, they never lose their effectiveness. It's like saying, I'm 60 years old, I've been eating all my life, I've been breathing all my life. How can it be effective anymore? I'm going to stop eating and breathing. Well, if
Okay.
you stop eating and breathing, you're going to suffer pretty badly. I think the breathing will stop you faster than the eating will. But the whole point is you don't get used to this stuff. It doesn't wear out.
Well, it kind of relates to people getting tired of eating a certain food. And
Yeah,
it's
but
not
that's
that they
the
don't get
thing. You
tired of
don't get tired. But that's
your
the thing.
brain
You don't
food.
get tired of it. You don't get tired of your brain functioning.
Yeah.
And even though you think you would, because think about it, For I have triliminal technology where I talk here, here, and here. It adds a little spice to the game. But if you're just listening to a brainwave entrainment tone, you're going to hear shh and ba 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 ba. That's pretty repetitive, and you would think that you'd get bored of it. I used to love that TV show Friends, and I loved the song, and I played the crap out of it. I haven't heard that song in like 15 years because I'm so sick of it already. Because you know what's coming. You would think with brainwave entrainment, hearing ba 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 incessantly, that you would get annoyed by it. It would get old. It doesn't, because it's mimicking your brain's natural rhythms.
Okay.
And that is something you never get tired of.
Okay. What is your offer today for my audience?
Well, the biggest part of the offer is a recording called Alpha Flight. And Alpha Flight was designed for one of the very first interviews I did was with a doctor named Doris Helge. And she had a large group of business professionals who flew a lot. And she said, these people, they're jet lagging and they're tired and they're dull and they need something to help them. Can you do something? So I created this recording called Alpha Flight. It's about 15 minutes long. It's exclusively brainwave entrainment. You're just going to hear shh and a pulse tone. And what it will do is it helps you to calm. It helps you to get into a perfect state of relaxation while at the same time being alert. And it's called Alpha Flight. Can you guess why?
Puts you in alpha.
There you go. Very good. It's in the alpha state. It's what's called the intelligent alpha state. So it helps you to be a good source for incoming information. It helps you to create different types of brain states that allow you to have better memory. And it also is calming, relaxing, and restorative.
Okay, great. And you can get his offer at bit.ly/Morry. He spells his Morry as Morry, Alpha Flight. Not fight, but flight like a bird. So thank you for being on my show again. That's a wonderful offer, and people have really enjoyed it that I know that got it. I'm going to have you back on another show. Will you please stick around for closing remarks?
Of course, that'd be my absolute pleasure.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, remember, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. It could be your gut. It could be brain issues. It could be cardiovascular. It could be hormones. It could be skin. It could be immunity. It's your whole body. And what I do is I guide you to a clean, toxic-free diet and high-quality essential nutrient products that will reduce symptoms. You'll feel better, possibly this way, but it does uplift your mood. And with my mindset coaching, like I said before, I help you release stress, emotions, and attainments from the past. And you've heard a little bit more, but I do. And I enhance your mindset. Now with my health optimization and weight release, I'm making your body more efficient. So I'm working with your mind and body. And if you want to know more, set up an appointment at my complimentary consultation button at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives and Victory ES.com/Linktree, LINKTREE. And when you do that, you get to know me. I get to know you. I will optimize your health, and it begins with 1 of 2 assessments. The first one is actually the health evaluation, where you rate your symptoms the last 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions are repeated in other categories. Answer them all. You'll get a health score. I'll review it with you. And when you decide to move forward with my services, I'll create that custom natural holistic strategy for you, and we'll monitor your progress with this evaluation. I also have 2 different body Zyto scans. And the Zyto link is now called the Zura link. The same company, I just renamed it. And it's still that link that I can do remotely and internationally as a transdermal optical link that I send to your phone. You're going to be scanning your face for 30 seconds. It's only looking at blood flow for components of energetic, functional, and emotional. The emotional is really important. And it creates a wellness report of biomarkers out of range and products and services that bring it back into range. And it's quite intensive, so I review it with you. The cost of the scan is $75, but if you move forward with a product or a program, I give you a $25 discount. You can also get a discount on a package of 5 scans, saving $50. Now, the transdermal optical imaging app, the Visera app, you take that term, or TOI, and you look it up at pubmed.gov. That's PUBMED.gov, and you'll find out how accurate this technology is. People are really amazed what their body tells them through the scan, and you'll be too. Are you curious? Get your first one done and see what they're talking about. Also on the site is my programs. Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program where you can utilize a new version of you to drive you your success. And all coaching is on Zoom, but the first one's always private to you because I go over your health analysis. I give you a choice between 2 meal plans, directions on one, and I give you instructions how to create that new version of you and an avatar board that'll drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformational goals throughout your journey. The rest of the coaching is the same for private and group. We'll be celebrating your wins, and we'll be getting you over gaps with health and mindset tips. I also will answer your questions naturally. And you can always ask me questions about this program on my consultation button. And you can also watch a previous episode, Holistic Self-Love, for more information on this. You will become a new you. Why Fast is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming, and in turn and boosts your metabolism with rich, dense nutrition and high-quality essential nutrients, as well as exercises and recipes. Now, intermittent fasting does repair your cells, reduces inflammation, and gives you mental clarity. And here you would ask me questions about this program. If you feel like you need some coaching, there's a 2 or 4 week program that you can use to get yourself started. If you want more coaching after that, you can continue paying for it. That's up to you. With my mindset enhancement, as well as my health optimization programs, you can start off with these smaller programs, but sometimes you may need more time, and the larger programs may be more suited for you. I can also create a custom program for you as well. For a limited time, I'm offering Debi's coaching chats, which is a 30-minute coaching session in a private setting. And it's not recorded. It survey picks a topic. So you'll learn how to optimize your body, ways to release stress and emotions, how to efficiently lose weight, how to balance your hormones, create that winning mindset that you can use for health and weight transformations. I also create that new avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformations throughout your journey. This meeting is at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And you need to register for it at Debi Changes Lives. Again, that's DEBICHANGESLIV as in Victory ES /chat CHTS. And you'll know what my coaching is all about. Finally, learn more about alternative health. Programs, products, services, offers, articles, upcoming shows, events, and promos by subscribing to my newsletter. And it is at DebiChangesLives.com. This time you go /radio TV show, all in lowercase. And I give you a gift, a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal, where you can record your gratitude, thoughts, feelings, emotions, foods, water, nutritional supplements that you took, and the exercises you do on a daily basis. You also want to track your measurements. You want to review it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, see your wins and celebrate them. Find your gaps to work on. If you need help with a gap, you contact me for coaching. This journal is a great health and mindset awareness tool. I'm certain that you found this show educational, eye-opening, and enjoyed it. Reach out to me for my services, products, and programs and offers, and reach out to Morry for his programs and offer. Can we have Morry back? Are you there? Anything else you want to say?
I just want to let people know that happiness is a choice. So choose to be happy. It really is. It sounds simplistic, but you'd be surprised. It's that easy.
Yes, it really is. And there's always something you could be happy about, in my opinion. And it could be as small as, you got an A in something. It could be very small. But thank you for being on my show again, and I'll have you back. So continue to enjoy my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.